Vertigo, one of the most cherished movies made by Alfred Hitchcock. It's a mix between a thriller and a romance drama. At the beginning of the film, in this prologue scene, we see a police detective named John Ferguson, played by James Stewart, experience a traumatic event during a chase after a suspect, a chase that takes place on the rooftops of San Francisco. And that event leaves him traumatized and leaves him with an acrophobia, the fear of heights. He decides to retire from the force entirely, and soon after, he's contacted by an old acquaintance from his college days who wants to hire him as a private eye to follow his wife. Apparently, that has nothing to do with an affair or something like this. They are very happy together as a couple, but her behavior has been getting weird as of late. She disappears for hours on end without later remembering where she's been or what she's done, and the husband begins to suspect some sort of ghost possession, as weird as it may sound even to him. John reluctantly agrees to follow the wife, even if it's to ensure that nothing paranormal is indeed happening. But as he does, it quickly becomes apparent that the woman's behavior is in fact inexplicably weird, and what's worse, John begins to develop feelings for her. The story goes from there, and I have to admit that the one thing that I've always heard about Hitchcock movies, that the man knows how to create and maintain tension, certainly rings true. Vertigo is very effective at creating this atmosphere of unease, uncertainty. The titular vertigo really has three meanings here. The feeling of dizziness that John experiences because of his fear of heights, the effect that meeting Madeleine, the wife, has on him, emotionally speaking, and finally the deliberate confusion at what's going on that the audience is supposed to feel. The story is well constructed and I have to say rather unpredictable. I liked how I was constantly kept on edge trying to figure out what's going on exactly, what is real and what isn't, where's the deception, what's the explanation. The film also uses quite a few inventive filmmaking techniques, most notably the zoom out, track in camera trick used to show the actual vertigo effect. It was quite revolutionary for its time and still leaves an impression. I think that the performances and dialogue are pretty good and help you get into the story. The score, composed by Bernard Herrmann, is atmospheric and memorable. Now, there were two flaws in the movie that I could think of. One was credited by Hitchcock himself as the main reason that why the film didn't do so well in its initial theatrical run, both financially and critically speaking, and that's the miscast lead actors. James Stewart was 49 at the time of filming, and he's visibly getting old, gray hair, stuff like that. Whereas his partner in the film, Kim Novak, was only 24. Now, that's a 25-year age difference between them, and it is not only painfully obvious, it kind of took me away from the film. It made it more difficult for me to understand why they would fall for one another. Him for her, perhaps, she is the younger woman here, but her for him, I found it difficult to buy into that idea because on top of the age difference, the very visible age difference, John is shown in the film to have physical and mental issues following the events of the prologue of that chase. So he's very much a fractured man. And the second thing I would change personally is the runtime. I thought that in the second act, the film drags a little bit and it would have benefited from cutting it, about 10, maybe 15 minutes of it. Especially as there's a lot of material that you could cut that doesn't necessarily advance the story, like the numerous car drives around San Francisco where John follows Madeleine, which, as accurate and well done scenes as they are, they do feel like a bit of a stretch at some point. Still, I think they're minor gripes overall, as Vertigo on the whole is still a pretty good film. Is it Hitchcock's best? That remains to be seen as I only begin to embark on that journey through the legendary director's work. What I can already say is that as a romantic thriller that it tries to be, it certainly holds up well to this day.